What's up, everybody? Welcome to another show. What up, Blunt?
What's good, Pete?
Woo!
What's good? What is good?
This should be an exciting show, folks. If you're watching, wherever you're watching from, please share this. Make sure it goes out to all pages that you're part of. Share it to your own page. Um, to our guest, you could share right now to two different locations. It should be on your screen, so you could share it out too. Okay, so guys, we have another special show for you guys today. We have a guest. I guess we should just bring him in.
Yeah, and keeping in track with the elections that are going on. We got none other than the most honorable
TA
Nas,
Surface E-Board.
and right, elected. Make sure you put that in there. Elected.
Elected E-Board member and now VP candidate for TWU Local 100. You
Nas.
got him? I don't want to hit the button at the same time we go in and
Okay,
out.
no, because I'm setting up my TikTok.
Okay, I'm bringing him in. All right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's going on? Hello everyone.
What up, Nas?
Good evening.
Nas,
Nas,
hopefully
what
at
it
the
is?
end of this show, you'll be smiling the same way that you're smiling coming in.
Um,
So Nas, before we get started, we want to make sure that I did a live not too long
Sure.
ago in the depot. You popped up and you did say to bring whatever questions people had.
yes, sir.
You say you're not gonna go around there like other people have. You're gonna
Nope.
straight to it and respond. And we got a pretty big response. We have a lot of
Okay.
questions.
All right.
Hopefully, you'll be able to get into them without expanding so wide on them and just give your answers. But let's see how this goes. So, for those of you that don't know you, introduce yourself.
My name is Nasar Abdurrahman. I am a TA surface operator, 14 years. I am an elected executive board member and elected third division vice chair. And I am running for the VP of TA Surface, the vice presidency of TA Surface. And I do have a full divisional slate that will be running under the United Invincible slate name along with me. And I'm glad to be on the show.
We're glad to have you. And you know what? I had that. Blunt. Do you by any chance have it? Let me just see. There's always something. Now that he said that, I know I got your slate. We need to put that up there on the screen.
No, I don't
Let
have
me
it on
go
my
to it.
end. That would have been nice to have.
Yeah, I do have it. United Invincible. Okay, let me put that into the computer and we'll put it up on the screen. So you could at least, hopefully, we'll be able to go through the names real quick and let us know who's who. And then we'll go right to the questions. So, okay,
Well, yeah. I mean, while we waiting for that, Nas, I'm not even. This is just a personal question to me. It's
Sure.
not even because the guys out there don't know. We asked for the Misfits to send us questions through our email,
Sure.
and we let them know that you're coming on, and they send us emails. But before we get to those questions, I just want to ask you,
Sure.
what made you decide to go for VP?
It was more out of a necessity than as a personal want. I've spoken to everybody concerning this that I felt that was better qualified, I should say, and I'm being full transparent. That has nothing to do with egos or trying to tell you what you want to hear to get your vote. I didn't want this position, but there's a need that needs to be fulfilled, and that it would have been unfulfilled had I not did my due diligence and decided to put my hat into the ring for this contest. Initially, we had wanted Robert Martinez to do it. Everybody had thought that he was going to reprise his role as VP candidate from the last election. As you know, we all ran together on the Progressive Change slate. But for whatever reason, he decided he wanted to do other things. and I kept asking around, asking around. I felt that, we needed to, so to say, run it back. You start what you finish. That's kind of like where I grew up and where I come from. You start something, you finish it. We came up short last time election with the position of VP, and I felt we had a very good shot to run it back and do it again this time with Robert Martinez. He decided otherwise. I asked other people, and so this is why I decided to step in and do it, because somebody has to um, pose a challenge to the people that are in these positions now, and to try to make change and steer the division into a more positive and better direction, and stop the things that have been going on for a decade and a half, in terms of um, the same political games, the minimizing the success, or what's best for the division in lieu of personal gain. I felt that a lot of, having been on the other side and observing and seeing things um, from that perspective, it opened up my eyes a lot. As you know, when I first came to this division, I had a kind of skewed vision of what I saw was what was wrong with the depots and the divisions. But now that I'm in it and I see things from a different perspective, my vision is a lot more clear, and I have a lot more information to come up with opinions, and to come up with a strategy and a plan to move forward to take this division in a better direction. But it was more out of a necessity than anything else. Me of all people, it's just a lot, and most of the fingers, most of the energy, most of the problems that I can pinpoint starts at the top, and it starts with Mr. JP Patafio, the current vice president now. And I feel we could do better, and I don't want his legacy, because I don't buy into his legacy. I think his legacy is tainted, and I don't want his legacy to continue to flourish in Brooklyn division. I think it's flawed. I think it's more for personal gain and more for partisan politics than instead of what's best for the division. And I think somebody has to put a stop to it, or it's just going to keep going. He's going to pass it on, and pass on his corrupt ways and his corrupt teachings to other people. And this is not what we want as a division. We need to unify this division. We need to bring everybody together, instead of keeping this division divided and having everybody broken up and ineffective, so to speak. We
Okay.
could be doing a lot more for the division, but it starts and it stops with the people at the top. And I'm
Okay.
not certainly not at the top. I'm one of the division officers, but I'm not at the top to make those decisions.
All right. Now, so I'm gonna put up the your what do you call it? Your flyer.
Yes,
So we could go through the names that you have here.
yes,
It's kind of small, but if you could tell from the top, so you got you, and you're running for VP, and then go along
yes.
from.
We have Ron Carter, who's currently the division chair. We have Donnie Clark, who's currently the first division vice chair. There's Andre Bryan. Um, there's also Charles Cherry. There's Ron Jones. There's Karen Valerie. There's James Davis. There's Chris Thomas. And there is Roberto Chico. These are the
Okay.
people that are running, but there's some that they're in the middle of qualification or being disqualified. That process has to be vetted through the elections committee. So what you see on that flyer might not be what you might see on the ballot. Just full disclosure. So that is an ongoing process. There's a lot of protests and a lot of things that happen behind the scenes regarding people's eligibility to run. But so
Okay.
far, this is what we have on the flyer, but it could change in the
So
future.
that's
But
like so
this
that's
is our
like in other slates that they're having kind of the same types of
right,
issues with
right.
some other
It's like a
candidates.
suspicion. Like a lot of times, even like the
Isn't
first,
this something that you would have prepared already before going to this? Like make sure that everybody is, you know, where they're supposed to
absolutely,
be?
we prepare as best as we can. But again, there's outliers um, we can't be prepared for. Just like the first part of this process with the signatures. a lot of slates got decimated just on the signatures alone. We plan for it, we prepare for it, we try our best, but you can never know when they start actually counting what's going to qualify, what's going to disqualify. Same things with meetings. Some people, we think we may have meetings for a candidate, but then um, a meeting might get a meeting might not be counted, or a meeting might not get be given credit to somebody, and these are the things that have to be protested and constantly fought over in terms of trying to get our people on the ballot. So yes, we can plan, but always, again, the machine, the mechanism that we have to work within, the structure,
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
always lends itself to, every election cycle, that people get disqualified. People try their best to do things. They might say, oh, you missed one dues payment. But then we'd be like, okay, well, that one dues payment wasn't taken out by the MTA. So whose fault is it? Is it our fault, or is it MTA's fault? So these are the things that we have to
Okay, gotcha,
constantly fight to try to get our people on the ballot, and
gotcha.
get them to run. So
Okay, so I just don't want to take a lot of time. Well,
sure.
I'm going to start it up. I have a few questions from the emails, and then when I'm
Sure.
done with mine, Blunt will take over with the rest of the questions that we got on
Sure.
emails, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so first question I have here is why are you running for JP spot?
I think I just answered that, but you want me to,
Yeah,
without being,
and a what do you call it?
to move the division
In a
into
nutshell,
a
in a
more
nutshell,
positive
why are you
direction.
running for his spot?
Transparency, accountability, putting the members first. The cliche, because that's the other slate that I'm going against. But really put the members first. It's been my experience that they put themselves before the membership. And last time I checked, we're elected officers, so we work for the membership. The membership doesn't work for these elected officials. But it seems that everything is being done, or how they manipulate or twist things around to make sure that we do things for their benefit instead of it being the other way around. And so this is the reason why I'm running, to put a stop to it, to move the division in a different direction, a more progressive direction. I think a lot of the things that the leadership in this union are perpetuating or practicing are outdated or outmoded. I think JP Patafio was way out of touch. I don't think the man hasn't driven a bus in over 20 years, so he's definitely out of touch with what's going on. I believe I am the most qualified to run for VP at this juncture, compared to my other candidates that I'm running against. Lou Marrero, I believe, is another candidate.
He's
Um,
running for VP, correct? Yeah, he's
right.
running for VP.
But, voting for him was like voting for JP. He was with JP for 11 years. So, in my mind, no disrespect, but respectfully speaking, you had 11 years to distinguish yourself from JP, but now all of a sudden you want to run because he hasn't thrown you a bone, or maybe released you, or maybe brought you in. So I think it's more out of revenge, or than anything
Mm,
genuine in terms of really trying to help
a little
the
bit
members.
better.
So I think out of all the candidates, I believe I'm the most qualified and the most sincere, to guide this division in the right direction. I believe I put a slate together that can reflect that. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are the rank and file members. These are not anointed people, or the friends and family people, like some of the people that we have in other slates, or the anointed people because I chose you. These are everyday people trying to make a difference, that are like-minded individuals like myself, that have been here a while, that want to see change and want to see growth in the division, and don't like the things that they see, and want to do something about it to make those changes.
Okay. Um, what has been your greatest contribution as the third vice chair?
Staying solid, not
Mm,
being compromised, not being manipulated to work for the cause of one or two individuals that are at the top of this union, but align myself more with the needs of the membership instead of the needs of a JP, or a Richie Davis. And this is the problem. This is the games that they continuously or perpetually play. They'll bring you in. And the playbook is so predictable. But a lot of the membership, they don't know it because they haven't really been involved with the union and the politics. But what they do is they bring people in, or they headhunt people that they feel that could advance their cause, people that they have a perception of that may be a popular person or influential person, and they bring them in, much like how JP did with Mr. Kemp. He
Okay,
brought
I'm
Mr. Kemp
sorry to
in.
cut you, but it just seems like you're going off a little bit. Like
I'm sorry, I'm
the
sorry.
question is,
Yeah,
what has been your greatest contribution as the third vice chair?
staying solid, not
Staying solid.
compromising. Yeah, staying solid, maintaining my integrity as a union rep. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay.
And if you don't have integrity, you don't have nothing else.
Okay.
Um, and that's pretty much it. But my greatest contribution, aside from staying solid, is putting in the work. And what do I mean by putting in the work?
Yeah.
Putting in the work when nobody's around, putting in the work when no cameras are on me, putting in the work when there's no Facebook posts to be had, just
Can you
doing the
specify
work.
any of those works?
Work hearings. I think I've done. I haven't done much, but I've done
Mm.
some hearings. As a third division vice chair, you backfill. Also, what I've done is I've done education. I've done probe evaluations. I've done, probe monitoring. To the best of my abilities. Again, I'm very handicapped because a lot of the things that I'm supposed to do have been stunted because I'm not able fully do it on a full time basis. I do it on a voluntary basis. Basically, I drive my bus. I'm on my tools, and then when I have time, then I'll do what I can, to help out. So most of my days, my phone stays on. I try to help out. People call me. People have my number. So I'm doing the work. Um, and it's interesting because I'm doing the work, two jobs. I work full time as a bus driver, and
Mm.
as much as I can, I work as a union rep. So that's kind of a unique situation because a lot of the union reps that are in this contest, they are fully released, which means they have all day to do union work, but I don't. But I do the best that I can. But
So you
my
haven't been
great
released.
no, I have not.
You have a
It's
reason.
still,
You
it's
have
been
a a reason why you think that you. That's another question. Why you're
Well, it's
not
political
released?
retaliation. I mean, and this is old stuff. This is stuff that's always been, for example, right now.
Retaliation.
Of course, retaliation because I don't align myself with JP or whatever the other slates or other union the powers that be. Anybody that doesn't agree with them or doesn't align themselves with them, or they come to you with gifts, they come to you trying to bring you over to their side. If you resist that, then you are politically punished. They come after you. They
Okay.
either
So
they don't release you, or they try to make an example out of you. So I give you a perfect example. I'm a third division vice chair and executive board member, elected twice by the membership. So what they do, they try to wear you down. They try to demoralize you. They try to demoralize my supporters and followers and say, "Oh well, look, we still hold the keys to the kingdom. We have all the power because even though you elected Nas, we're still not going to release him. So we're going to not respect your voting choice. We're going to still suppress him." And this is what they do. But I'm telling all my followers, all my supporters, if I'm not giving up, you shouldn't give up because it's
okay.
not about them making the decision. It's about us. The membership has the power, not these few people down at the union hall. So
All
keep
right.
voting, keep
So
being involved.
with that said, I received a document. Right. This document is dated January 11th, 2010. I'm not putting it. I cropped the part that's important. The other part
Mm,
because it has um some information at the top, which thing that I don't have permission to post that part. I won't, but
mhm,
we'll post the body of the letter. Again, this was January 11th, 2010, and it
mhm,
was from to Mr. Pendergast. Pendergast.
mhm,
I have the clip here. I'll put that up on the screen while I read it. So it says this letter serves to clarify the role and responsibilities of elected TWU Local 100 chairs. As per our union's bylaws, the elected chairs have been directed to administer the affairs of their respective divisions. This includes the responsibility for the selection of release time officers in accordance with union policy.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that, my question is, why hasn't Ron Carter petitioned for you to be released when he is the one who is responsible for running the affairs of the division?
Well, because Mr. Richie Davis informed us at executive board meeting, and Mr. Chico is my witness because he was at that executive board meeting, that he is the one that ultimately makes the decision on who's released and who isn't.
Well, Richie Davis is supposed to be responsible, or
Absolutely.
Ron Carter?
Well,
He's not supposed to be, but he's usurping authority, I believe.
Mhm.
But again, he's the president, so the
because I mean,
acting
because
president
according
won't
to
call the
this, it's bylaws, right?
president. Right.
So Ron Carter should have the right to do it. I mean, this was from
But he's not allowed to, and this is what I'm talking about the political, um, hits or the political the retaliatory measures that opposition takes against people that weren't aligning themselves with the powers that be, and this is hurting the membership.
right.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
knowing this information, couldn't you, the same way that I got that
right,
letter, couldn't
right,
you brought that up somehow and be like, you can't go against the bylaws?
right. That's something that definitely will be taken into consideration. But this is yeah, like Roberto
Right, but
Chico said, right.
you've been elected how long now?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
So
well, two and a half going on three. Right. Yeah.
in
So
those 3 years that you haven't been released, you seen that letter? Did you have
um
knowledge of that? Let me put it back up. Did you have knowledge of this rule? This bylaws rule? Bylaws, is it right? This bylaws rules?
but it's interesting to note the signature on the phone is John Samuelson.
Yeah.
Um, so we don't know. We have to really look and investigate because again, um, Mr. Richie Davis is the acting president, so he's doing a lot of things way different than his predecessors, and that's just one example. And it's not right.
Hmm.
Things have to be followed according to the bylaws of the local, and definitely this is something that needs to be looked at. But
Right, because
this
that came from John Samuelson to
right, right,
the president of MTA back in 2010.
right.
Mm.
So yeah, we
So
have to look into that. But this is the problem. This is problematic, and this has been ongoing. I'm certainly not the first, and hopefully, at least if the administration changes in the VP and the Department of Buses for TA Surface, some of this stuff can be mitigated by new leadership, and not have the stuff being perpetuated, um, administration after administration. But these things, these shenanigans, these games that they play, it has to stop.
I know,
And
Nas. It's just that you since I met you, you've been like very knowledgeable of what of this stuff.
right.
And when I got this, I'm like, how did Nas not know this? Being that he
Oh, we
hasn't
we
been
had knowledge of it, but again, the leadership seeks to handicap, everything that oppositions are. Just like, for instance, I gave another example of Richie Davis's plans to take control of everything. He wants to disavow and get rid of all the shop stewards in the union. This is his
Mhm.
plan. He said it. Everything that I'm
And there'll be a
saying,
question about that Blunt will be hitting
right.
about that.
Right. And who gives him the right to do that? From last time I checked, the executive board has to change that, but he wants to erase everything. He wants to come up with this SOS program. He doesn't recognize any shop stewards. Like it's almost like akin to like a dictatorship. And
Okay.
this is very dangerous. This is a very dangerous practice, and this is a very dangerous way to move as an acting president. So if he's elected as a president, what else is he going to be do? Just
I don't know. Just thinking you just use their rules
you know,
and fight back. Let me give you another question. What is the individual beef between you and the rest of the elected officers of TA Surface, starting with JP?
what is my individual beef? Well, just like I've
Damn.
without sounding redundant again, just the things that he's done throughout the decades. I've only been under him for about 6 years, but a lot of the things that he's done in terms of mitigating the success of the division for personal gain, I've seen firsthand with my own eyes. And I think this type of leadership is a cancer. Excuse the comparison. It's toxic, and that relationship, has to be removed. He has to go. So that's my beef with JP in a nutshell. The other issues that I have,
The
I
rest, the
really
elected?
the other elected officers. If you're talking about Alexander Kemp and you're talking about Gary Rosario, I do have issue with them because you started out one way, but then you ended up going another way, and that's your right. You did what you felt what was best for you, whatever. But what I can't tolerate is that the transparency behind it. Is almost like such a big secret, and you're going out of your way, and you're not being forthcoming. If you have to do that, just say, listen, I had a change of heart. I'm going to go in a different direction, but don't sell it to the membership like you're still the same person that you were when you ran with us, because you're not. We're not the same. Your energy's different, and for me, integrity is everything. Like I said, I give you a perfect example of integrity. If you're going to move and switch and go switch sides for something as small as just a slate, what's going to happen if individuals are put in a position to really make decisions that's going to affect thousands and thousands of lives? If you're offered something that maybe um, will enhance your self-interest over the interest of the membership, you just showed your integrity is that you have none, because you can't stay solid, or you can't be resilient for the small things. So how are you going to be resilient and stay solid for the big things? And this is the issue that I have with Mr. Kemp.
Yeah,
Um,
you was kind of talking pretty much where this question was going. So I'll jump in there with this questions, because you basically are saying that Camp and Rosario turned on you guys, right? Or your slate, or just you,
they
or
didn't
your
really turn
opponent.
on us. They turned on the membership, because guess what? People voted for me. People voted for what I represented. I represented the voice of dissent against things that were wrong with the union and wrong with the division. Now, me, once I get elected, what does that look like? Me going, once I get on the other side and I get elected, oh yeah, guess what, guys? My cause is not your cause. I can't align myself with what you guys put me in because of that. You guys put me in because of my beliefs and me staying true to the cause. So how can I in good conscience get to the other side and then switch it up? Oh, that's not my cause anymore. I'm with JP now. I'm with Richie Davis. That's
Mm,
disingenuous. That's not fair to my members who voted for me to be the voice of opposition, the voice of dissent when things are wrong with the union.
okay,
Well,
I'm just gonna finish.
hold on,
Good.
Hold on, Pete. You said you're the voice, right? There's word out there that's going around that before you got elected, you was putting booster ground in the streets. You was talking to people, doing your shop gates. Which, first of all, the mobile shop gates I thought was a genius idea.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're saying that since you've been elected, you've been MIA, you've been ghost, you ain't been out there, you ain't been doing nothing. So they kind of feel like you was out there doing that, and now that you got elected, you ain't doing nothing. And it's like now you want them, now you expect them to vote you in as a vice president. How are you going to
Mm.
convince those people that that's not actually what's going on?
It's not what's going on. You have to evolve as a person. I came in as a bull in the china shop my first go around in this, and I had to learn to evolve. If you don't evolve, there's no room for growth, and you just don't grow as an individual. I made some mistakes in my former elections when I first came to Gleason, and I'm truly sorry for that, and I apologize for that, and I ask everybody's forgiveness in Gleason if I hurt somebody, if I hurt somebody's feelings, because my style of unionism at that time was very aggressive. Um, I had to take a step back and do some introspection and self analysis and say that that's not the way to go. I want to bring people together, and I don't want people to separated, be divided because of the message that they're receiving and how I'm giving it. And so I had to move in a different direction. Also, because I'm an elected officer, the energy has to shift and it has to change because now I'm held under the bylaws or over my head now. So when I was going crazy and wilding and doing all this, insane stuff, you guys were there. You had a front row seat to it. I wasn't elected, so nothing bound me, nothing held me. I wasn't beholden to any rules or regulations regarding how I engage people. As you get inside, and as you are elected, you have to move a lot smarter and a lot differently. So I couldn't be that part has passed. I can't be that person. I could still voice my opinion. I can still advocate for you guys, but it has to be done from a different approach.
Mm-hmm.
And so the work is still being done. You just don't see me like King Kong pounding my chest and pointing fingers at everybody. So I have to be a lot more smarter in my approach and how I deal with this. But the concerns are definitely being fielded by myself and Ron Carter and people from what's left of the other division slate before we split. But we are still doing the work, and the work is being done. So I haven't removed myself and I haven't stopped. There's a perception that I may have stopped, but no, I have never stopped doing the work. I've always done the work. So when people say that I'm MIA, that is not true, and it's just it's a misperception from when they saw me being the other Nas as opposed to
Yeah.
being the current Nas now.
So
I hope
just to
that,
play devil's advocate here, Nas, that first of all, I hearing you apologize is a in my book that's huge. You
okay.
got people like your president Richie Davis who would just double down on all the atrocities that he's doing,
Right.
and so I appreciate that fact that you
Thank you.
recognize that you kind of slipped up and
Right.
and then you apologize, but. No, Kemp's not here to defend himself, and I could wager to say that what you just told us is almost the same thing Kemp could say about him flipping to JP.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was on the show before. He did say um, that he went with JP because he felt that it was better for the membership. So I mean,
I disagree with that.
That he was
okay,
not necessarily working with JP, but that he was working with the membership.
with the
Which,
membership, right? Praising.
right,
Yes, Pramila, we covered that. We let
yeah,
everybody know
Camilla,
Nas ain't getting no release time, and he's still doing his
rewind.
thing. Yeah.
And speaking of
So
Pramila, see, I have no excuses for what Mr. Kemp has done and what because I'm working for the membership still, but I'm doing it the hard way. I'm doing it the I guess maybe he thought they could pick the low hanging fruit. It would be easier to just align himself
Mm.
with JP. I disagree with that. You could have did it the right way, and the right way is doing it the people's way. Because
if it's
when you go that route, you're muted. You can't really speak out against what's wrong.
Yeah, we
You
have
got
brought up that
to.
they could have worked to ran together against JP,
That's what I'm saying.
rather than joining the same
He
the
would have
same
had
way.
any slate he would have got on. We would have won. They would have won
Mm.
hands down. He didn't have to go that route.
How,
That's
how do
what.
you how do you feel about Roberto Martinez and Richard Thorne supporting Kemp and Gary?
Norm. Sorry,
I
had
have
to
no
do it
comment
anyway.
on that. I mean, they support who they want to support. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
That's just one of the questions I got through the email.
yeah.
Just so
Um,
everybody knows, the guys who are online who's putting the questions in, we're gonna get to them, but we just have a list of email because we asked people beforehand
That's fine.
to send the questions in. So
yeah,
don't be upset. We'll get to them. We'll see them on the side. And Nas, if you see a question that you want to tap into, just point it out and we put it on the screen. You can
Okay.
answer it.
Okay.
yeah. I have one more. I think. Yeah. How would you help our? How will you help our local 100 sisters with their issues? Because the truth is, we've had Evangeline a lot of times.
She's been the
I've
only one.
helped. I've helped.
Only
I've
one.
been involved with helping some of the sisters with their pregnancy with MAPA. I've worked Full disclosure, I have nothing against Evangeline. I've worked with her in the past. There
Mhm.
was a time when I was aligned with her, but I just felt going independent would be the best course in light of all this turbulence, this political turbulence, because we don't know how things pan out. Slates get disqualified, people get, so long story short, I have no problem working with Evangeline, but we have worked on several issues regarding females, and I think how the authority approaches treating the females on this job while they're pregnant is atrocious.
Okay.
Mm.
So
They
I
treat
have
it as a
a
disability, then their right to give birth, and that really needs to be, those policies need to be looked at,
so you
scrutinized.
feel very strong for the women and the issue with transit.
100%, 100%.
Okay, so right now you have two candidates in your slate who have charges, allegations against them,
Right.
right? Would
Okay.
happen to be against females.
Well,
Um,
no, I think you need to. There's no charges, so that's false. That's false
there are
news.
allegations, one that was supposedly
Right.
proven and one that
Okay.
is alleged at the moment, but there's still allegations of said type of women issues against women.
Right. So
Don't
there's
you think that
allegations.
that might have an impact on
Well,
you
first, let
getting
me clear
voted?
the air. There's no charges. Let's clear that up right away.
I will tell there are
Nobody has
charges.
put any formally charges on anybody
Hmm.
on my state. One investigation is ongoing. That's with Mr. Donahue Clark. And again, all of these allegations, I'm hearing some wild words out there that I'm not even going to mention on this chat. I mean, on this, I'm sorry, on this podcast.
Yeah, we got
But
demoted.
if there was,
Huh?
I said we got demoted.
no, I'm sorry, no,
That's
no
all I get.
disrespect. I'm looking at the chat on the side, but
First, we're
um,
not big enough. Now we're
no,
no.
no. And again, I'm going back to the political hits and the political assassinations. The other one was done years ago in East New York. If you're referring to Mr. Ron Carter, again, that's fake news. Because if you look, um, and I hope Willie Rivera is watching this. He was the one that wrote the letter regarding Ron Carter, regarding these alleged allegations against Mr. Carter about
Okay.
this misconduct. Willie Rivera wrote it. He got tried in a kangaroo court by the union, the disciplinary hearing committee, found guilty and removed from office.
Damn.
Mm.
Right? Nothing went to EO. Nothing went outside into MTA. Nothing. These are the games, these political games that they play. So I'm glad you brought that up because these things have been going on for decades,
So you're
and
saying
this
that,
stuff
that's
has
no
to
such
stop.
thing. You're saying that there are
So
no
ask Willie
allegations.
Rivera, if he's watching the show, why did you write that letter against Mr. Ron Carter? And it was false and accusations were false.
Maybe
Exactly.
he
Jay
could be on our
said up
show and
front.
respond to that.
So yeah, this is the element that we're engaging in this political arena, and it's unfortunate that we have to do that because you're playing with people's lives. You remember what happened to me last election without really getting into too many details. I almost lost my job. I had charges on me, but a lot of it is political motivations, politically motivated, and political retaliation against their political enemies. And this is the games that they play.
Okay, I have one more question, and then Blunt will do his list because we're doing okay. I wanted to just hit a half hour, but okay. So other question that I got here: will you put your detailed mission and goals as TA Surface VP in a legal binding document prior to election?
That would be foolish of me to do so because there's a lot of things um, that have to be navigated and have to be um, scrutinized and looked at. I can't just put anything in the legally binding document. Again, I have the bylaws, I have the Constitution, I have the contract. All of these things govern the VP's movements and decisions. So, I can tell you this: I'm not a politician, and I'm not going to sell you and promise you things because that's what politicians do. What I will tell you is that I will do the best that I can um, as a human being, give you all that I have as the vice presidency. If I'm elected to give you all that I have, you'll have a resident VP, which means I live in Brooklyn. I said this last election, but this means a lot. Most of my slate lives in Brooklyn. They can address the needs of the membership, hopefully, in a timely fashion. Um, and this is what's needed. So I can't make that promise because politicians make promises. What I will do to tell you is that I will try my best to do everything to highlight the agenda, the platform that we are running under, what we stand for, what we believe in, and how we're going to move this division in a different direction.
All right, thank you for all your answers to that. With that, I'll let Blunt finish up with the rest of the questions. And if I need to jump with something, I'll jump in there. But Blunt, you got the other half of the list.
Take it easy on me, Blunt. Be nice to me.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's not me, bro.
I know.
Look, it ain't me, bro.
I'm getting ready to get there.
Yeah, I got some questions for you. I'm gonna put some of my questions, not all of them, because I ain't time to type them out. I just thought about it, but I'm gonna put mine's. I got 2 questions I'm gonna put on the screen, and you answer it as best you see fit. Hold on, let me take this off. And the first question I got is this: what is your mission and goals, short term and long term, for the TA Surface Division?
My goals is the amount of discipline that I've seen, the severity of the discipline that I've seen, along with my counterparts in the division, is outrageous. That has to stop, at least to mitigate, reduce the severity of the discipline that we're seeing in these hearings. That's one of my main goals. Another one is safety. Safety in regards to doing more, having more of a presence. The division officers need to have more of a presence in the division in terms of engagement of the members. I haven't found a solution to it, but we are working on strategies and coming up with ideas to make this union a 24/7 operation in the division aspect. Why is there no representation late at night? These questions have to be answered. How come is it very hard for if the union should be 24/7 like management? The crew windows open. There's somebody on the property 24/7. The roll call will come out 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the morning if there's an accident.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be similar response from the union side, but we have to brainstorm and come up with an idea. So that's kind of another thing that really bothers me, because I see a lot of people out there that need help. They're at the mercy of management. The roll call comes, they have to take a statement. They don't have union protection. They feel nervous. They might make a statement that might get them in more trouble. So these are the things that that bother me as an operator, as a union rep, and that I would like to see addressed and kind of improved on in the near future. Another short and long-term goal is stop all this political, spend more time and more energy serving the needs of the membership than worrying about me getting reelected. I think we need to take a page out of some of the other divisions that we have in TA, where a VP only gets 1 term. If you're not doing the right thing, you're out of here. And that's the way it should be. And there's some people like, oh, well, that division is always angry. They're so angry. They're so mad. No, they get it. You got to do what's right by the membership. And if you're not doing what's right, you get 1 term. And then you're out of here. They're going to find somebody else. So we need to adopt that. We should get rid of all these dynasties. These I've been VP for 6 terms or 7 terms. I've been VP for 20 years. No. So we need to do away with that. So for me, I would like term limits, but I know that's beyond my pay grade. But I would like to see term limits for division officers, for union reps. I say no more than 2, 3 at most. But also get rid of all the political, fighting with each other and unify this depot. That's really my long-term goal. One of my main long-term goals. Bipartisan, work with everybody. Hey, if Kemp gets in, listen, bygones be bygones. We have to work together for the benefit of the membership. If Gary Rosario gets in, whoever gets in that wasn't part of my slate, I'm going to work. I'm going to go across the aisle and work in bipartisan, fellowship and work for the benefit of the membership and stop all this. Oh, you was part of this slate, so I'm gonna put a political hit on you. Oh, you weren't part of my group, so I'm gonna put it. No, we got to stop that. So that's I have to. That's my main pledge to you guys. I could be no better than JP if I'm going to pick up and do the same crap that he was doing, when he was in office, and I'm going to do the same thing he's doing and abuse and terrorize division officers and members. I will be a hypocrite. So that's my pledge to you. I will work with in communication and for the welfare and benefit of the membership, and do away with all this bipartisan, this partisan crap. My group versus your group. I'm gonna do away with that.
Okay, so let's jump right into the second one. Is a little bit left from where we were just talking about.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And it acts as without disclosing too many details to your opponent. What will the scope of a shop steward and a line steward program look like for TA service?
Well, that's kind of a difficult question now, because you have the president now that wants to do away with a shop steward program, but I will fervently disagree with him and not agree with that. A shop steward and line steward program, from my understanding, line stewards are supposed to be basically the shop stewards, the eyes and ears of every line. You pick people that always pick on the line; they never pick off. You kind of defer to the senior operators, or people that just like to stay on the line, don't leave too much, don't migrate. And you would pick an AM line steward and you pick a PM line steward, so you have all shifts covered, right? It would be 2 line stewards per program, and their job basically would be to go out, check road hazards, check potholes, make reports to Department of Transportation, get the ticket numbers, follow up, send that ticket number to the recording secretary. The recording secretary will put that in the book of all the road complaints and issues that are concerning the lines, having it divided by the line. This is my training. This is my understanding of what a line steward is supposed to do and conduct himself. They would liaise and also inform the depot chair of any issues that needed immediate concern. Sometimes they will go out. So that would be kind of like my idea for the line stewards for every depot. Shop stewards would also, I would really do a shop steward training program, because they're supposed to be the support of the depot chairs of the section officers. So they would be an auxiliary, a supplement to the help that we have in TA Service Division. Unfortunately, we don't have it like in OA. MAPSTOA has 6 positions in the depot. They have depot chair, vice chair, recording secretary, shop steward 1. Chief line steward 1, chief line steward 2, and chief shop steward. So they have 6 positions. We don't have that. We just have 3: chair, vice chair, recording secretary. So we're a lot shorthanded on the TA side. I would like to look at ways to kind of actually improve that, so that we would be on par with our counterparts in MAPSTOA, and maybe look at the feasibility of adding 2 or 3 more elected positions per depot, so that we can get the help that we need in the depots, because these depots are big. Gleason is a monster. That's a huge depot, and to put all that work on 3 people is a lot. It also kind of does away with these elected and these unelected people helping out, and it kind of does away with that if we can try to come up with a program where we can elect a chief line steward 1, chief line steward 2, or maybe another chief shop steward. It helps out the division, and it makes our division stronger, and we have more support and more eyes and ears out there helping us.
Okay. I'm gonna take about 18 seconds, and then when I come back, I'm gonna hit you with some other questions. All right, so just give me 18 seconds.
Not a problem.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Reason why I put that, because that's basically my segue. My next question has to do with retirees.
Yes.
What will you do to get the retirees' choice of traditional Medicare back?
I can't answer that question because I'm not in that. The position of vice president has nothing to does not that is beyond the scope of the position of the vice president. I think that question is more suited for someone that's running in the top four position, or president, president, secretary, treasurer. Those are for those questions. Our slate does not have those people. We are division only slate. So if you're looking for the answers to those questions, you would have to defer those questions to somebody that is running for a top position like Evangeline Byers, Mike Cordero, or Mr. Richie Davis. Those people would be able to answer that question.
Yeah, right now Angeline's the only one actually out there fighting for them. But what is your position on that anyway? Because you know what happened between retirees and
right. Could you repeat that question again?
No, it was saying what would you do to get them their option back? So what I was saying is that
well, I've been told it's in litigation, and
right, is it in litigation?
depending the outcome of that, hopefully we're looking to try to get it reversed. I do agree with the retirees and the litigants that are against or for the reversal of what was done to our contract. And this is part of the retaliation, not to go off on a tangent like I usually do, like sometimes. But full transparency. As an executive board member, we weren't given all the information from my understanding, and I voted to send the contract for ratification to the membership. After the fact that we found out what had happened and that Medicare, they gutted $72 million of it, and they used that as a windfall. The authority used that to pay for our raise. I voted against the contract, me personally, and I did not agree with how that was done. They weren't forthright and they weren't forthcoming. They, meaning the leadership, Richie Davis, and the leaders that presented the contract to the executive board. So I take this personally because guess what? We're going to be retiring. We're going to get old. We're going to need those benefits. And the place where you need it the most is where you don't hurt it. You need it more as you get older and you get closer to retirement. You need more benefits. So I would definitely fight and advocate for that, to try to reverse that. And me personally, as a union rep personally, and as a bus operator, I take that personal because we need those services as we get older, definitely. And depending on who you talk to, a lot of information is still coming in as retirees are trying to use the medical services so we're finding out information in real time. Oh, my provider no longer decided to cover me because they're paying out a different amount of money than when they did before, and that's usually what it is. Or, retirees had this medical provider for 10 years and all of a sudden this provider is dropping them because the amount that they're paying out of Medicare Advantage is not what they were paying before. You see what I'm saying? So these are the issues that are ongoing and that we're facing, and nobody can tell me anything different. Even though the leadership right now is still sticking to their guns, saying that there was no givebacks, and it's in black and white. It's in litigation. The judges and lawyers are not going to litigate something that doesn't make sense or is not true. So there has to be some truth to it. So
not only is the leadership doubling down on the fact that they're saying there's nothing wrong, but there are meetings that are being held. He's been invited.
Right.
I just thought about something that was really funny, Pete. But he's been invited because we're talking about Richie Davis here.
Yeah.
So next week, make sure you tune in.
Oh, you better tune in next week.
But he's been invited to meetings, stuff like that. Right. And in fact, being that that's up, and everybody's been invited. We've been posting up meetings and stuff like that. They got another one coming up at November 16th. Nas, you welcome to join too.
He won't show up. He won't
be. I know he's not going to show. And let me tell you something. At least
he's definitely not going to show.
He didn't even answer me. I invited JP. I personally got on the phone and talked to JP, and I invited him. At least he turned me down respectfully.
Respectfully,
can't do it. it's political time. It won't, a lot of things that go on around political time. It's just not the right time for him. Okay,
Right,
I respect that. At least he was, he was respectful about that.
right,
Um, Richie Davis didn't even answer me. No call, no show, nothing, no
right.
response. So I don't know. It is what it is. But you guys, let me get to this next question because I'm
Sure.
Whew. So the next
We're
question we
gonna
got
wind
here,
up on next week's show already.
yeah,
Roberto
no.
Chica said Richie Davis called you two clowns. Yeah.
Oh
I think there
man.
was a shop gate in one of these depots, and it's the two clowns, the two transit misfits.
Wow.
And you
Well,
didn't say
since you mentioned
nothing. You
that,
didn't say
you
nothing
guys,
negative about this guy, right?
we're gonna talk about that next week.
Next week. That's why I said next week. I start
Can't make
laughing.
stuff up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
we didn't
can't.
want to get into that today because
All
we
right.
It's
have
your
you on
time.
board.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
we will have a
next
whole
week,
show about that. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So next question is: have you studied the Taylor law, and does the Taylor law prevent unions from negotiating health care for people that no longer work?
Does the Taylor law? Give me the second part.
Yeah, it says does the Taylor law prevent unions from negotiating health care for people that no longer work, i.e., retirees? I don't know who wrote that, but that's the question. Have you studied the Taylor law? And does the Taylor law prevent the unions from negotiating health care for people that no longer work?
I've never heard of that before. No.
So the
Me
first part
neither.
of the question: have you studied the Taylor law?
Yes, I have. And actually, per the last, I guess the union, and we had some e-board meetings about it. They're talking about there's a movement that we have within the union to try to reverse the Taylor law or mitigate it.
Mhm.
I've vocally spoke out against it, saying it's unconstitutional. But again, according to Samerson, I think he said the last lobby day, I think they were talking about Taylor law reform, and then we have some people in Albany that are working on it, state legislatures and things of that nature. So I know there is a movement on trying to reverse Taylor law or to minimize it or change it or amend it so that it gives labor like us more power in terms of bargaining. And this is the handicap that we're under. We can't really collectively bargain at full strength because we're under the Taylor law. As we know, any day struck, we lose 2 days' pay for each individual operator.
Mhm.
The union is fined $1 million a day. Dues checkoff is removed for like a year. So there's a lot of things in place to make it very difficult for us to, if we have to go to that level and strike or whatever. But yeah,
You brought up the fines and stuff like that. There's something. Toussaint said something very interesting about that during
right.
my interview with him, and I think
Mhm.
I encourage everybody to go watch that because
Okay.
what's happening right now, he touches about what's happening right now, especially about the retirees medical and stuff like that. But he
Right.
brought up something about the Taylor law and the fines that everybody received when we struck in 2005 that you guys really need to pay attention to. I think is ridiculous. So we have a couple of other questions that you already actually answered, and one was about how did you vote in the contract, but you answered that. Um, did you give your team? Well, you could probably get into a little bit more detail with this one because you kind of touched on it, but it was more in answering something else, and it's did they give your team a copy of the contract for the medical advantage plan to read before you voted on it? I mean, you kind of touched on that, but can you go
when
into
they
more
when they
detail?
were when they were going through the contract, we were not given a hard copy, and that was very rare because, as you know, the executive board, our duties and responsibilities are to ratify or approve contracts. Excuse me, not ratify, but approve contracts for the membership, and send it to the membership. So, TWU Local 100 has, big bus, school buses. We have a lot of different companies that we work on contracts with. But for our own contract, we were never given a hard copy. Everything was initially the immediate first engagement that we had of the contract. Everything was done on PowerPoint very quickly, rifling through it. again, a lot of us were like, wait a minute, what's going on? Back up. Hey, could you go over this again? They were kind of rushing through it. It was my first experience as executive board member experiencing that. So I was basically going through the bamboozle, and that's what they were doing. Right. Chico was right there. They put it up on the board with pretty colors and said how great it was. So it was more like a rushing it through. We don't want you to get too settled down so you can start sinking your teeth into the contract. We'll just give you quick bullet points, rush you through the contract, and hurry up and try to get a vote from the e-board. And this is my point of view that I'm giving to you, the members, so that you can see the games that these people play down at the Union Hall. And it's very important this next election to put the right people in there so that we can continue to fight this foolishness that's going on in there. But that was my experience, my first experience as a contract, going over as an executive board member, going through the contract. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this how it's supposed to be? Because I had nothing to compare it to because this is my first contract.
Right.
So I thought this was the normal way to do things. But obviously, after the fact, it was not, because I'm like, wait a minute, why didn't we get a hard copy? Why aren't they taking their time? Why are they rushing everything? But these are the games, when people are dishonest, when things
Did
are,
you all still voted yes on it, right?
because he kept saying there were no givebacks.
Right.
And my decision on it, my initial decision on voting for the contract, because there was no give, and we kept asking him over and over and over again, were there no givebacks? Were there no giveback? He kept responding, yes, there's no giveback. There's no givebacks, Nas. Don't worry about it. This is the first time we're going to get a contract. We have to give nothing back. And then, as we all know, after the fact, there was
even us here on the show, we were pretty
Well,
gung ho for it.
we were
as well.
gun ho because
Yeah.
they put in the ADA, so we was like, yeah,
Right.
go for that. We didn't really know about the
my
other stuff
yes
that
vote
was
was done under deception.
right. Yeah, he pulled
Right.
the wool over everybody's eyes.
Below the wool over everybody's eyes. And so now, and again,
And
that's
Richie
still my
Davis still
regret.
stands by that, say that he didn't do that.
He's still doubling down. He's still doubling down. He's trying to say that it's no diminishments in benefits.
Right.
It's the best thing since sliced bread. He even lied to the people in their face at a shop game, saying that this doesn't affect you. The people who are in here who are active, this doesn't affect you. It does.
So
it absolutely does.
Yeah, we have to do better.
Yeah, definitely. We got there's two more questions, but we're running out of time here. So
it's okay. We got to finish it. It's only fair, Blunt. I asked all mine.
Okay. So the next one is, a couple of them you already answered, but this one here is, I think it's kind of interesting. Is this campaign personal for you?
That's a very good question. I've learned to take my emotion out of it. At first it was. I'm not gonna lie. I felt betrayed. I felt the membership got betrayed. But then, I looked at it from a different perspective. I can't take this personal, because if I put my feelings in it, then it's gonna prevent me from doing the best that I can and not being clear in my purpose and my intentions and trying to help the membership. So for me, this is not personal right now. For me, this is about doing what's best for the membership, guiding us in the right direction, stopping all this nonsense of divide and conquer and separation, stop us bickering amongst one another, and really unify this depot, unify this division, unify everybody so that we can work towards the real common enemy. And that common enemy is management and them trying to diminish our benefits year after year, contract after contract. So am I taking this personal? No, I'm not. This is not personal for me.
Okay. We got one more here because the other ones you pretty much answered. So it says, you ready? You seem to trust no one. So if you win JP position, will you be able to work fairly with each of the members of the opposing slate in the future?
Absolutely, 100%. And I'm gonna double down on that. I can't say that enough times. I cannot make these pronouncements and say that JP has to be removed from office because he no longer is the best candidate. He no longer serves the needs of the membership, and that he's been playing all these politics and dividing and hurting him. I can't say that I'm going to be better than him and get right in there and do the same thing that he was doing all these years. So that is one of my first things, and that's my promise and pledge to you, is to not be like him, to work bipartisan, work with everybody, even my political opposition. Let bygones be bygones, and work with everybody to maximize everybody's potential for the benefit, for the betterment and benefit of the division. So I will not be like him. I will be better than him, and I will try to do away with all of that, and everybody will work together and be unified.
Okay. I mean, that's all we got for here. I mean, unless you see something in the comments that you want to answer. I mean, 10,000. And Marianne, hey Marianne said it's 10,000 pages in a full contract.
No, so let's I want to thank everybody that joined us today, folks. If you're watching this, please share. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe over there because we're trying to grow that channel.
Let me just
Yeah,
share.
before that, I want to make sure that you say your last. Want to say
Right,
I want to put one more time your slate up on the screen,
right.
and then I'll put you on the give you a minute to say
Oh,
sell
we
yourself out
you
there.
don't have the delegate slate either. We have over 26 people. We have like 23, 24 people because this is a
Uh,
delegate year.
I didn't get that.
You
I
didn't
didn't
get
get
that one.
that.
Mhm.
Get that, but I
Okay.
got this. So
All right.
the slate is United Invincible. No, TA Surface. What is it?
United Invincible, TA Service.
United Invincible.
So you guys, it's gonna be an interesting election. I think there's probably gonna be a cherry picked election, meaning that no one slate is gonna go through, I believe. You're gonna have to look for each individual position and then vote for it. Um, Again, we're not a top to bottom slate in terms of a president and a top four officers. So we're going to be a division only slate. So you're going to have to look for us with TA Surface, and you're going to have to vote for us that way. My position, how they have it in the elections committee, myself and all the executive board members, we're not going to be on the slate. The only ones that are going to be on the slate together are going to be from the division chair down to the last delegate. So the division officers and the delegates are all going to be under one slate. Myself and the rest of the e-board members, you're going to have to look for our name and vote for us individually. That is how this is how they want it for this election cycle. I
Mm.
encourage everybody, don't everybody vote individually. Do not vote the slate. You got to pick your president, choose one, but don't pick members first slate, or don't do that, because once you click that, you click off everybody, and then you might like somebody from one slate and might not like somebody from another slate, and then you won't have that option because you just click the slate box, and that you check the slate box, and that does all your votes. That takes up all your votes. So you're going to have to take your time and choose in each individual position. You're going to have to go across, VP, Nas, or JP, Lou. You're gonna have to check one, and then so on and so forth for all the positions. And because that's what I believe. There's some people that people like on one slate, some people that people like on another slate, and you're gonna have to cherry pick. This is what this election is gonna come down to.
So you just
I think I
basically
have
saying
to.
take your time when you get in there to vote.
Right.
Take your
Take your
time.
time. Don't just click
Don't
the slate.
rush.
Yeah. And
Like you see
also,
you and then just click everything. Just don't rush. Take your time. Read the whole ballot and
right.
make a smart decision based on what you believe. All right.
Right.
Is this the graphic you're talking about now?
Yes, that's it. Hey, boy, your blunt is good.
Also, I
You're
did have that up,
fast.
bro. You had it up there?
No,
You
I just
fast.
pulled it up.
You put it up?
So these are my
Yeah.
delegates. These are ordinary operators doing extraordinary things. This is the rank and file. This is the salt of the earth, so to speak. We put these slates together. So the reason why we have so many people this go around is because this is a delegate election cycle, which means that people get to go and vote in the international convention. So we need one delegate. We need 12 delegates and 4 alternates, so 16 out of TA Surface. So I'm encouraging everyone to vote for your favorite delegate, or if you like our whole slate, you can vote our slate. I would encourage that. But the delegates are very important because they make decisions. They're much like e-board members. They have a vote, but their vote is going to be cast on the convention floor wherever they have it. The last convention was in Las Vegas. I think they might have it again there. but convention delegates' roles are very important, and the alternates are the people that can't. The convention delegate cannot make it. The alternates go in their place. So I encourage everyone to vote. It's very important for our democratic process. Exercise your democratic right to vote, um, and it's okay to not vote the status quo. Like, vote. Oh, you got to vote this way. No, your vote is your own personal choice. You don't have to share with anybody who you want to vote for. And make the right decisions based on information and the relationships that you may have built with some of these candidates. Don't not vote or make a decision um, based on what somebody told you about a candidate. Find out for yourself. Who's this person? What do they represent? Did they come to the depot? Did they come to you? Did they shake your hand? Did they talk to you? So all these things factor into it. Also, I would like to present one more narrative. There's some narratives, again, in this division that certain people are doing all the work. And I would like to give you an alternative view of that. That is not true. That is false. And that is and I hate to use the word because it's a very strong word. That is a lie. From my understanding, from what I've seen personally, um, Mr. Ronald Carter is a very resilient and very knowledgeable and very, very unique individual, because this is the games, again, these political games that are being played. Um, he does step two hearings, he does arbitration hearings, he does differential hearings, he does calm hearings, he does it all basically. And the reason why I say this is that again, political games that JP likes to play. They remove the officers, from Ron Carter. They take Gary away from him. They take Kemp away. They won't release me. They have Clark down at the Union Hall. He can't enter the building and do hearings. So what do you have? You have one individual pretty much doing everything.
Mm.
And it's not about optics. We're not the slate we're not the Graham slate. We're not the Facebook slate. We're the slate. We're the grind slate. We're the slate in the grind. We do the work. Um, people like, oh well, we don't see Ron Carter on any videos. We don't see him on social media. Well, you have to ask yourself, if he's that busy, he's down at 2 Broadway most days, every day. Does he really have time to make videos? Does he have time to go on Facebook and say, "Oh, look at me, I'm over here doing this"? No, he's working. He's putting in the work. And the receipts are not social media. Let's be clear on that. Some people are like, oh well, this union rep has receipts because he's on social media. As we all know, Hollywood is the land of make believe. Most
Mhm.
of us in media, a lot of it is not real. So you can skew anything to make it seem like you're doing something when you're actually not.
Yeah, but
But
social media nowadays is a big deal.
right,
Nowadays is
but
a
you
big deal.
in terms of tangible receipts,
Mm.
um, look at all the people that the steps and all the paperwork is signed off on. It's Ron Carter.
Mm.
He does it all. And JP did that, in the hopes that he would collapse and fail, because that's a lot of work. But not only has he thrived under pressure, he has succeeded. And there's a lot of people walking around with comp checks that they're getting, and jobs that are being saved, and people being back to work because of Mr. Ron Carter. So that is the real narrative that is going on. That is the real story, not the story that people see on certain websites or certain media. This is what's really going on. You want to ask receipts? All the guys that he saved, all the sisters that he saved in terms of jobs and helping people. And this is the narrative that they don't want you to find out about.
Gotcha.
Mm.
All right, now, so once again, I want to thank you for coming on today,
Thank you.
um, and pretty much answering all the questions we had for you. And want to thank everybody that sent in their questions on our email.
Let me respond to Alexander Kemp. What's real is that Ron Carter hasn't done a 19A, but your 19A is shallow and full of it. You had 8 people knock down 14 buses. The last
All right,
19A
all
I
right.
did was
Listen,
in
listen.
police. Huh?
We
Well,
can't stay
let's
here
come
now
on,
because this will go
come on,
on.
stop it,
We
stop
could
it.
easily have you guys on. Can
Right.
come back on.
And let me I'll debate anybody, Mr. Lumarero. I'll debate Mr. JP Patafio. You set it up. I'm willing, I'm able, and
Okay.
I'll put it out there. So I'm willing to
Hold
debate
on, hold on, hold
anybody
on,
on
hold on.
the issue.
Say it again.
I'm willing to debate anybody on the issues regarding their running. Preferably, I would like to debate Mr. Lou Marrero and Mr. JP Patafio, and you can invite them on the show, and I'm willing and able to debate anybody regarding these issues. Even Mr. Kemp, I would like for you to come on too and explain yourself.
I want to say with that someone asked the question if we ever invite JP, and to answer your question, folks, we had JP on our show long time ago. He was on the show.
I remember that.
The questions didn't go as the questions are going now. So
Right.
if JP comes on, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be
because they want you to script the questions. You have to pre-authorize the questions and pre-approve those questions. I'm not
we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So again, thanks everybody that showed up. Everybody, all your questions. Now you could always look at the comments after, and if you want to respond, because it stays open. It stays
open. The invitation is I put the invitation out there. Let's debate. Let's talk for the benefit of the membership. Let's do this.
All right, so everybody, please share this. We'll catch you in the next one, but I want to go off by reading this right here. We were no experts in the field of labor organization, but we had something in common with our fellow coworkers. We were all poor. We were all overworked. We were all victims of the 84-hour week. In fact, we were all so low down on the economic and social ladder that we had nowhere to go but up. Michael Joseph Quill.
I love that.
And with that said, I'm Brooklyn Pete.
I'm your boy Blunt.
And that's the end of our show.
Thanks, guys.
Fuck them if they can't take a joke.
Catch you in the next guy.
Peace.